Hey guys, welcome back to Nursing with Anya, and today we're going to be talking about the lungs. Let's get started. So, in our last video, we talked a lot about veins versus arteries, carrying this oxygenated versus this deoxygenated gunky blood. And that gunky blood contains carbon dioxide, right? So when I say oxygenated blood, where is this blood receiving this oxygen from? We know it's what we breathe, right? From our beautiful trees and our plants, we're getting all this rich oxygen within our lungs, somehow to our lungs, and somehow something happens and it gets it to our blood, and our blood goes around and it gets it to our tissues. But how? I think we should start with an anatomy lesson first, right? Okay, as you can see, here we have some things going on. It looks like a little bit of broccoli, some sort of crazy ring, something. Let's label them. This guy right here, ring guy, what is it? This is our trachea. Okay, and we know that that trachea sits right in front of that esophagus. And what's an esophagus? Our food pipe. What's our trachea? Our windpipe. Are they the same thing? Is there just one thing right here that's just we're eating and we're breathing through the same lung, through the same pipe? No, right? We would probably aspirate and die. So here we have that trachea. So our trachea is connected to your lungs. We remember from last time, our left lung and our right lung, right? False. You guys should remember this. Push yourself over. Plaster yourself to the wall. This is our right lung. This is our left lung. Who here thought we just had one giant lung? Fix that. Okay. So this is our right lung, and this here is our left lung. Did you know that one of them's bigger than the other? Remember that heart? That big old heart that needs to pump and do all its business? It's kind of protruding to the left. Why? Why the left? What's on the left side? What's that ginormous left ventricle? Why is it so big and pushed up there? Why does it need to be that big? Because it needs to push all that blood, remember that oxygenated blood that somehow it's gonna get from this guy, into the aorta and into the rest of your body, right? All through your arteries, those rich oxygenated blood. So our left lung is gonna be kind of smaller. That baby's only 2 lobes. 2 lobes. This guy's a divider. Right lung, big boy, big and thick. Thick because there's a liver kind of compressing it up, okay? So that's big and thick. This guy has our 3 lobes. 1 lobe, 2 lobe, 3 lobes. 3 lobes in right, 2 lobes in left. 2 lobes because the heart's pushing it. It's taking up all this space. What are these 2 pipes? We're going to call them pipes, tubes, whatever you like. This guy and this guy right here. These are called our bronchus. So you have your right bronchus and your left bronchus, okay? Your bronchus. That guy goes into all these spiderweb businesses, okay? We're going to talk about why there's so much, all these tubes, all this crazy stuff going on. But your next job is to know what the next guy is. So that's our next tube. What is it? So this guy is a bronchi. Same when I say this guy, I mean in all the next branches. So this guy, and not that one, because we're going to talk about what that is, and this guy, and this guy, and this guy, and this guy. Next, it goes into one more spider web, right? There are more, but this next spider web. Next tube spider web right here is just called our tertiary. Tertiary what? Bronchi. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now, what do we have? Look at the little baby ones. They kind of look like broccoli stems, right? Because at the end, there's this broccoli guy. So right before the broccoli guy, broccoli looking thing, there is our teeny baby bronchioles. Bronchioles. bronchiole. Even this word sounds small, bronchiole. Now, what is this bronchiole connected to? We're just gonna go ahead and make this bigger on this side. Bronchioles connected to broccoli. What is this broccoli thing? Let me tell you about it. It is called a alveolar sac. This guy is our alveolar sac. Nice. What could it contain? It's an alveolar sac. Probably contains alveoli. That's your guy. So this baby broccoli has a bunch of tiny, 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 tiny little alveoli. This is probably the biggest thing you need to remember. You see all these tubes. You see how they all spread out, connect everywhere. Their main job is to sit there and connect to our alveoli because they're the big bosses. They actually make things happen. When I say make things happen, what am I talking about? Gas exchange? What gas exchange? What is that? Oxygen? Carbon dioxide? Yes, those are our two things, oxygen and carbon dioxide. The things when I say, oh my God, we get all that oxygenated blood, that deoxygenated crappy blood. Does that mean carbon dioxide, crappy blood, amongst other waste products? But carbon dioxide is our crappy deoxygenated blood, veins. And when they do that gas exchange and give our good oxygenated red arterial blood, this is who does it. Big old, tiny old, they're teeny tiny alveoli. They're the big bosses though. So we mentioned a little bit about our alveoli. Now let's talk about this whole tree branch spider web situation. Why are there so many of these tubes going everywhere within the lungs? What's its purpose? It is to get that oxygen-rich air that we're breathing in to every little part within your lungs. We want it here and here and here and here and here, everywhere. So much so that, fun fact, your alveoli, these baby guys that we're talking about, if you were to stretch them all out, it would, within your lungs, it would cover the surface area of a tennis court or two. It's our biggest way that we receive this oxygen-rich blood throughout our entire body, and we need this gas exchange to happen. All right, my friends, so now here we have, what do we have? What is this thing? What do we think this thing is, this big old bulb? It's that big boss, that little but big boss. Alveoli, cool. So now that we know that this is our alveoli, what the heck is this thing? Oh, how does this alveoli do this gas exchange that I keep talking about? This oxygen and CO2, what? Exchange. What's that guy? Is that our deoxygenated, crappy, CO2-filled blood? Yes. So this right here is just our blood. In a what? In an artery? In a vein? No, my friends, in a capillary. What the heck is a capillary now? We're adding all this random stuff. Let's talk about it. Capillary. What's a capillary? Remember how we were talking about this bronchus and this bronchi and this secondary bronchi and this bronchiole and then the little alveoli? Similarly, with an artery, there's an artery, an arteriole, and a capillary. Capillaries are our one cell big, teeny meeny little guys that help with this gas exchange. Why? Because they're one molecule thick. What's a CO2? Molecule. What's an oxygen? Molecule. Because they're both just a molecule thick, it allows for that molecules to transfer. So we need baby capillary to be sitting here to allow that gas exchange to occur. If this was thick old pulmonary vein, thick old artery, nothing's gonna happen. It's just the wall's gonna be too thick. What can go in? Oxygen, CO2, nothing. So we need this capillary to be chilling here with the alveoli. So, who's this guy? Bad blood, bad blood, CO2-filled, crappy, gunky blood. It's coming in. Where's it coming from? Do you think it's coming? Do you guys remember our previous video? Is it coming from the pulmonary vein or the pulmonary artery? Deoxygenated, crappy blood. So it should be coming from the pulmonary pause. My friends, do you remember my previous video? Do you remember us talking about how within the heart, within the pulmonary system, there is this difference? And this difference is solely here. So this is coming from a pulmonary artery. If that sounds confusing, I'm not going to explain it right now, but go watch that previous video and it will make sense, okay? So this guy is coming from our pulmonary artery, this gunky blood. Where's the CO2? Where's the CO2 going? Is it going up? Or do we want the CO2 from the alveoli to come in? Why the heck would there be that much CO2 in an alveoli? What did we just talk about? We're breathing in what? This rich oxygen that's getting down to our alveoli. That means that there's a bunch of O2, right? Because it's so concentrated. Y'all know anything about diffusion? Do you remember 5th grade? We talked about this. We talked about molecules moving to higher concentrations, etc. Say I was just in this room. I had a bunch of air freshener. I sprayed a bunch in this one corner and I'm like, dang, that's an intense smelling stuff in that one corner, okay? You give it just a little bit, someone walks in the door and they're like, wow, it smells nice in here. They didn't go to that corner and get a giant whiff of this real intense perfume. No. Instead, it's been dispersed within the room when you give it time. So that really concentrated perfumed air freshener area has now dispersed into the non-air freshener areas, right? Good. So our O2 is so high. Where does it want to go? Doesn't it kind of want to go there? Cool. So our O2 is going right here. And our CO2, it's going to get pulled over there because there's a crap ton of CO2 in here, right? What is CO2? Carbon dioxide. There's a crap ton of carbon dioxide here. It wants to go where carbon dioxide isn't. Oxygen wants to go where oxygen isn't. Here we are. So now it's going to keep going into our rich oxygenated blood. Who does this guy connect to? If that's the pulmonary artery, the pulmonary what? Vein. Good job. So this guy's going to connect to the pulmonary vein, which goes back into the heart. Do you guys remember? If you remember my video, where is the pulmonary vein gonna go to? What chamber of the heart? You tell me. Is it the right atrium? That kind of doesn't make sense. And you would know why it didn't make sense if you watched the other video. So it should go to our, come on guys, you know this? Left atrium, good job. Left atrium, through the left ventricle. All that oxygenated blood to our aorta, into the rest of the body. Good job, very proud. Let's talk about a couple other little things about the lungs. Okay, so we talked about our alveoli being so good to give us all this great gas exchange that's happening, right? What else does it do? It has this thing called surfactant. What the heck is this? In the alveoli, we have some moisture, right? When we breathe in, we have all this like moistness. So if these little balls, these little sac balls, whatever you want to call them, or alveoli, if they're super just moist, can't they kind of on themselves collapse? Because think about like a balloon, right? Or gloves. You know when you're wearing gloves and they're super sweaty and you take them off and they're kind of all crushed up and moist and gunky? Okay, well that's not going to be great. Same with this guy. If there wasn't any surfactant, it's going to just continue to collapse on itself. And then for this alveoli to expand, it's going to take all this pressure and all this effort. We don't want to go through all that pressure and effort. So surfactant is a kind of lubricant. It sounds funny because I say lubricant, so what, are you making it more moist? It's a type of lubricant that is both hydrophilic and hydrophobic. That means I love water and I hate water. I have a love-hate relationship. If there's a love-hate relationship, you know what happens? Those water molecules break down. They don't want all this love, this hate, whatever. So now they're broken down. Surfactant comes in, beats all that up by producing all this goop. It loves it, hates it. And now it just doesn't collapse on itself because of the water. The water doesn't let itself stick. It just kind of stays open, and that's good for us because, oh my God, can we do gas exchange longer? Yes. Last other fun fact. When we breathe in, don't we have a lot of crusty dusties in the air? The smoke, the, I don't know, pee droplets that you just walk by in the city and you just get a whiff of something and you just feel like there's debris and there's gunk in the air that you're smelling. Now, all this extra spider webbiness, it's just allowing more of that debris to get caught up, right? Because it doesn't want it to just continue going down into all our beautiful little structures. Let's catch it early. Now, what else lines these bronchi? It's little hair things. These little hair things called cilia. And so they're these tiny little hairs, essentially, that can start pushing all that gunk out. What the heck is mucus? Cough it all out. We have this green gunky goop. It's all this cilia that helps bring all that gunk up with its little hair-like stuff. And it allows us to just and cough that gunky mucus out of our body, get rid of all the things that we don't need. Our beautiful old lungs. How nice. Now, just a heads up, there's some things that just would not fit in this TikTok. If you guys want to see those, I'm gonna put the whole thing on YouTube and it's just gonna be a little more in depth. If this is enough for you guys, perfect. Otherwise, I'll see you guys when I post next. Bye.